Hello, pioneers, and welcome back to Satisfactory 1.0. It's fantastic, Mr. Ghost. In the last episode, this beast was turned on fully with casings, all-clad aluminium sheets, and a few aluminium ingots for project assembly, the final stage. In order to test this build and make sure it's working properly, I connected two fix-it shredders to the ends of the casings build. And true to form, something farted out. And that was the copper ingots. So I simply added another train to pick up ingots so that the flow is maintained. And it works perfectly now. Whoa! Whoa, dude. Looks like we have more transporters. Alright, I'll stop with the Bill and Ted reference. Yes, I added two more, finally! I have a transporter for the aluminium build and that massive piece of crap mess quartz and silica build. Whoa. Speaking of the quartz build, let's go there now. Quartz is pretty in pink right over here. Everything is running. I have not tested this out with a sink. I will later. I'm just afraid to do anything to it right now. And I have a radar tower here to make it look awesome. And the portal, as you can see, is way over there next to the nitrogen train dump off. And don't get me started on pipes. I never want to see another pipe for the rest of my life, except for now. And don't get me started on how big these train stops are. I already said I hate it. Alright, enough of that. So here's the loading area over here for the quartz and silica. We get a 2-for-1 on this build, which is awesome. And then the nitric acid pickup for the fused modular frames. And we're good to go. So there were some lessons learned here, or one lesson mainly, and that is don't build to 2400 quartz in one area. Chunk it off to 1200 and 1200 if you do so desire, because this thing got messy. And I think the pipes are going to fail me, so I may have to come over here and rework the pipes such that the build will work properly, but we'll see. The fun part about these builds, and of course if you've never done them before, is troubleshooting and finding out, well, what works and what doesn't. And I can tell you right now, I'm afraid of the water pipes getting backed up and the dissolved silica or whatever it's called. I'm afraid of all that exporting correctly and importing correctly. So I will revisit this if I have to later and just rebuild it. So I have my reference point here now with the train stops, and it's awesome. I have the magical radar tower here, and the portal is over here now. Since there will be a lot of trains coming through here, I created an underpass. So the trains will enter here and exit. Alrighty, pioneers, I'm over by the oil field. And we got another train over here. Fuel pickup! There we go. So let's go down and take a look at that really quick, and we'll get started on the project assembly. Well, yeah, the beginning throes of it. That's a massive pipeline. Whoa. Ooh, we got some fart rocks over here I gotta get rid of. And here it is. So this is 400 fuel. I'm using the impure patch over there of oil. So we've got 400 heavy oil residue. And then we've got the polymer resins. The polymer resins are turned into rubber this time. I think we get a better yield on the rubber here because it takes 40 polymer resins for 20 rubber. I'll have to look at the plastic one, but it seems better. So we have the 400 heavy oil residue, diluted fuel, and this creates 400 fuel a minute. And all I needed was 3 head lifters. Not a bad deal. Alrighty, folks, I'll meet you over at the Dunes Desert, and we'll get cracking and start putting some stops in. I'll see where we can get to today. Mainly, I want to get I want to get all the intermediates over there, and then make an assessment as to what I need to do here. It's a big project, going to take a lot of space. Let's get to it. Alrighty, pioneers, I got to break in here before I get too crazy. It's very easy to go crazy with these trains. So that's the intersection, or well, the T branching off to this. So here's what I have. As I've already stated, the turnaround, So that's the exit line. This game. And so I wanted to get 2 platforms, a 2-story train unloader. It's kind of a fun thing for me to do. It's also necessary because of this big rock formation over here. So I wanted to cover this because it's kind of a cool little design here. And it took me a minute. And once you know where you kind of have to know where to start in these cases. I'm going to pull these out because it looks pretty cool. I'm going to probably do diagonals and stuff there. So anyway, so I pull off of here. Yeah, I'm going to get out of there. These little arrow things pop up. I wish they'd get rid of these. Just get them out of the game. I don't know. We got signals now. We don't need these arrows. Apparently, you can click on it and switch the direction for manual driving. I don't need them. Just why we have arrow keys. So why do these exist? And I think they're kind of telling if you have a problem. So I don't know if it's a troubleshooting tool more than anything else right now, but they've been in the game for a while. Before the signals came up, we had these stupid arrows. So I took out this train stop here because I needed to make room for a merge over here. We'll get into that in a second. So I pushed down 1 train stop. Basically, well, you know, the width of these things. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But total blocks, but it's actually 3 in the middle there and then half and half. So it's 4 blocks, but in the middle, right? You know, however you want to explain that. So here is the upper level, and I'm doing a 90 here only for now because I need to know I got to get the train stops down up on this floor, which is what I did here. And the way that I lined this up was I looked down here. So this right here, this foundation, I pulled this one up. So when I'm up here, I can, you know, easily line it up. So I knew it was 3 over, but I don't know where to go this way, you know. So let's say east, you know, well, you know, whatever, east-west. So let's say this is vertical, right? So I didn't know where the vertical space is because, you know, I can't see this thing. So I pulled this one up to know my reference to where I'm supposed to be. And then I already knew, okay, it's 3 tiles over, and that's the middle of the track there. So now I have a blueprint. Now I updated this blueprint here. It's just the stop and the unloader. So what I'm doing here, let's get over there. Okay. So what I'm doing is there is enough room right here, believe it or not, for a case. This one right here. And you got to be careful because we are, see how it's perfectly right here? Look at that. It's perfect. So what I'm doing is I'm going up to there on that line. I want to be standardized so everything is easy to troubleshoot. Let's go down here and verify where I put it at. And, oh, I'm a little bit above the line there, see? So, yeah, that's why I wanted to check that. So I think I'm right here. Now, we can pull these up right here to see very easily. Yeah, I think that's good enough. It's kind of hard to tell, but I think that's fine. Yeah, let's just go with that. I always do fast unloading, so whatever I'm bringing in, I want twice the speed to unload to get the platform, hopefully clear it out enough, because if there's a train behind me, by the time the train takes off and the next train comes in and docks and the unload animation starts, at least something will be unloading in the meantime. So that's 2,400 items a second, or a minute, sorry, not Factorio. So I think I have enough room here for 6 more stops. I'm pretty good. Now, once I get these in, and this is why I have to go under. I have to go under to get around the rail, so the bus will start over here. Now, you'll see that I'm experimenting a little bit with where I want to go, and I think I could extend this platform way out this way here. I could shove the belts over this way because then I'll have plenty of room in this area here. So I'll have to see how the belts come together, and that will determine, where everything's going to go. Because another thing we have to keep in mind is that we're going to have these monsters. Yeah. And then we have the quantums here, the encoders. I think they're called encoders. Yeah, encoders, yeah. So the quantum encoders, converters, and particle accelerators are ridiculous. And then we need the blenders for the modular frames, the fused ones. And then there's also the other stuff, the turbo motors and all that crap. So up here, this is just temporary to get an idea of where I needed to go. So the way I did this here, and make sure I mention this, it's never hurts to go over things twice. I made the reference up. You have to reference to where you want to be first. So the reference point is the input rail here. So what I did is I go, all right, I need to be here in order for all these to line up together. And then I put the 90 in, or that's the 180 there. So 90, 90. That determined where this ramp was. So then I just made the connection. So I worked my way backwards. But the reference point had to be determined, which is the input rail to the lower train stops. So I hope that makes sense. And I had an issue over here. This is why I'm complaining about rail signals. If I put a signal over here, right there. So in Factorio, if you put a signal there, it makes a block. And so I'm like, okay, this should be fine. For some reason, these are complaining that they can see themselves. I don't know how that is, unless it's breaking this block here and it's looping through. I don't know how it's seeing itself. I just don't see that. What's going on here? This one isn't even connected here. So let's go ahead and connect this. What I want to do is go here. Oh, there's another strat here. Go right before the curve, then connect, and then put a signal right there. You could go further back if you want. Now that didn't fix anything, so we'll pull that out and see how it fixes it. So what we have here is we have plenty of opportunities for trains to pass through, and that's my goal here. So that's why I'm a little confused about this signal over here and how it's affecting these two. So this one can see itself as well as these two only if I place it. So I don't know. I'm kind of confused on that. But I think they need to maybe do some updating to these signals because sometimes it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I guess, and then, yeah, since I'm right-hand drive, I got to go in the direction of the train. So the signal is to the right-hand side for my, right-hand drive here. Even if you're left-hand drive, you got to have it on the signal on the side that the train is driving. The right-hand side, right hand of the rail, even though you're left-hand drive. So, just got to keep that in mind. So there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and place these down, and I'm pretty sure I'll be fine. That's why I wanted to do a double-deckered rail stop, unload, and I think it's going to be really cool. If I have time, I don't usually do walls and stuff. I just like to get this stuff done. Walls are fun, but it's not important. The build is more important to me, and getting it done. All right, let's do it. Okay, here we go with the train stop placement 16. So I went through all the products, like I said, and I think I counted fluids, the nitric acid, and the fuel for the fused modular frames. So the pipes are going to be a part of the bus. I was actually forgetting that and going back and forth with it. So I'm going to have, I think, fluid stops on the top, and I'll just draw the pipe down. And being on the top, there'll be some, hopefully, gravity feed. So that's the plan there. So I don't know where I know I counted everything, and I came up with the number 16. I don't remember. Or I should have wrote everything down is what I should have done. So here is let's see, I'm working on the bottom, I kind of flip around sometimes because I need to, oh, I got to do this because it leads to something else. So I'll start a project and then I'll leave it. So this, oh, I redid the entry to the top 8 here. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I had to go further back. So I just pushed it back a little bit. The ramp stayed in place. And this is all of the, you know, entry points to the top train stop area. So that's done. Now, here's where I had a problem. Okay, you'll notice that I have the curves going the other way. I pulled all those up, and I moved the ramp. So the ramp is, I curved out a little bit, and I'm going down, and then I'm looping all the way around and connecting down below, and you'll see where this goes here. At first I think I was cutting too quick, so here's where I'm merging back onto the other platform. So right there is where that is, and I'll try to showcase that with the when this slowdown hits, because I sped this up 350% here. And here is the final shot of all the trains on both platforms. Very cool. Alrighty, folks. I think it's time to load the first train and bring it to the platform. I think these are Caterium ingots. I'm only going to do 2 to kind of commemorate, or I guess this is the way I'm going to hit the champagne bottle onto the Dunes Desert space platform thing. And here are the copper. Oh, here's the copper ingots right here. So yeah, I'll just set all this up off screen. Enjoy. Oh, I love it, having train traffic and all that. And here we are, the drop off. All right, Pioneers, I think that this is going to be a short episode today. Oh, boy. Well, we're here, and the best thing to do is start. I think everything I could think of is done. We still have some SAM ore to do. I do have it, but probably not enough. And then we also have diamonds, which are needed for the time crystals. So that all will be done here locally. I have to look at the time crystals and all those other fix-it things that are new. I'll be kind of peeling the onion away from those and seeing what we'll be doing. So, oh boy. The good thing is, well, there's one thing that's really difficult. As you can see, there's 4 columns here, or rows, or whatever you want to say. I'll say columns. This one is going to be the worst of them all. But I don't know if I want to start. Yeah, the AI expansion server. I think this one being last on the build, sequence, because we have the dark matter to deal with. I'm gonna detail all this stuff out. Oh, here's the Trigon, the assembly director system. We need water for this, which I don't mind doing a water train just for this. Because who cares, right? At this point, whatever. The water train for this particular part here. Oh, and that's interesting how it's in a mixer. We haven't done this one. Yeah, that's why. The water train, I'll probably go off the shoreline. Or we have an oasis over here. A couple of them, I think 2. And I'll just train it over here. Point-to-point train. I don't care. We'll get it done. So, yeah. Fix-it Trigon and water. The Trigon isn't too bad. And then, then I have to rebuild all this stuff here, the supercomputers and all that. But we have everything. And what I don't have, well, guess what? We have room. So I accomplished the goal. 8 and 8, total of 16. I might have 1 extra that I added to this just in case. But I can keep going. So that's the whole point, is that this is expandable. All I got to do is redo this turnabout, you know, this 180 here. So we'll come up and whoop. So if I want to add stops, I can. We got all the way over. That's a crash site over there, by the way. I left a MAM up there. So we got plenty of room here. Okay, so let's go over to the bus. And this is really this is really interesting, unloading from train to bus, because, you know, when we first started this, it was we got to get all the resources and belt things in. Then we got a few trains going just to make the, you know, get rid of the belts, the long distance belts. So right here is the first 2 items, and I'm going to, this is just so I can line things up, but I'll most likely, you know, I'll use these racks, the poles. They call them poles. I don't know why. It's not a pole to me. A pole is circular. But the format will be this. I don't know how high I'm going to go. We can go up pretty high with our hover pack now, but the tricky part is managing a very high pole stack. So I don't want to go too crazy. But let's say we have 14 items and 2 fluids. I'm going to going on the floor with the fluids, because we got the nitric acid, like I said, and the fuel. So most likely, I mean, I could go in between these things here, but well, maybe not, because I have to clear. I want to go on the floor, so I don't know. Maybe I'll go under the floor and pop up where the fused modular frames are, because that's all we're going to need the fuel and the nitric acid for, at least I think. Now, like I said, the water we're just going to bring in and we're going to pump it up to the machine that needs it over there. So I will get this all squared away. And let me finish up what I'm talking about here. I'm going to go all the way to the end here, and the bus will curve here. And I'm going to go that way with the bus. I can go up. So if I need to go up a level to clear stuff, I can. We have that way over there, which is copper ingots. I'm not too worried about that stuff. But we'll see. You know, if anything, this is a learning experience, trying to get all this stuff together here. I have never done the end game, the new end game that they have here. Trains weren't really viable. You could get through the whole game and not really use trains. You could just use the local resources. Well, you'd have to use a couple trains. Nuclear power, you need to use trains and all that stuff. And it's not that I don't want to do a nuclear power because it's so freaking involved. It's fun to do, but I'm going to try to avoid it. And maybe I'll do some tutorials on that. I'd like to do some tutorials on power. So anyway, so I'll get all these items sorted out. It's going to take me hours. I have them labeled too, by the way. Quartz and all this, silica. I went down the line as to, basically the first thing we did was the copper and deuterium, and then I included iron plates in there. So I'll bring the iron plates in. I consider that third because we already had it set up in a sense. We were just missing the plastic. So all the items are in order of completion. So you'll see down here I got the beams and the pipe and all this here. Plastic, rubber, and then this is the SAM. So the reanimated SAM is going to be an interesting one. I'll probably do some off-screen work with that once we get to this point where I need to start using that. And, you know, I only got the 6 machines, so I'm pretty sure that's not going to be enough. You know, I'm fairly sure. We'll see. But I haven't done any numbers for this. I think it just gets tedious. I think that the best approach to this is you build to the patch or patches of resources that you have. And then you're like, okay, I've got I've got a maxed out build. And whatever you're lacking in as you go, then you can add capacity. It's easier to do it that way. I don't want to be a spreadsheet player. But you do have to do the numbers, you know, because you might overproduce or underproduce, and you're not going to like that, the end result of that. Overproducing, I'm okay with. Underproducing is really bad. Especially when you're, let's say you have a tight spot. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this all done. Get it all squared away. I'm going to have to move these out of the way, unfortunately, but that's okay. I will do that and get this bus together and all the trains running, and we'll start building in the next episode. Can't wait. So I hope you enjoyed this episode with all the trains and everything we did. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.